Well, just before the show, we had an episode of Kent Film Club. Now, if you didn't manage to catch it, Chris, what could you see on our website if you do manage to catch up with it?
Well, Jamie Terry was our guest. Jamie's a comedy writer, and often you find with people who work with comedy that there's often a bit of a more, I'm not going to say macabre side, but there's often something a bit more tilted towards horror. We've had comedians on the programme before who've in one case went out for all horror, including Jordan Peele. So maybe you'll be in for a few surprises if you haven't watched it already.
If you haven't watched it already, well. But now let's talk a bit about the Oscars. So next week they are there, the Academy Awards. Tell us a bit about what you can expect. Last year we had a lot of Barbenheimer domination. Do you expect much of the same?
My guess is that the results, when they're announced on Sunday night, will be split. I mean, Conclave has done well at Screen Actors Guild, Best Ensemble, at the BAFTAs as well, but it doesn't have an accompanying Best Director nomination. So if it does win, it means that something else will win in that category, and Adrian Brody's performance in The Brutalist is, well, probably the favourite to win in that category. I think Demi Moore is probably back now as the favourite after she won the Screen Actors Guild on the weekend for The Substance. But, Wicked is in there as well. But I think that it's going to be split. Unlike, a few years ago, Oppenheimer won the majority of the awards. My guess is that Emilia Pérez has 13 nominations, almost certainly going to win Best Supporting Actress, but I'd be surprised if it has a clean sweep.
Right, and also there's been some unfortunate news of the passing of Oscar winner Gene Hackman. So tell us, what do you make of that and Gene Hackman's career as a total?
Well, he won 2 Oscars, French Connection, so that he won that in 1971, and then 22 years later for Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. He's the sort of actor, in the 80s and 90s, he was in so many films, a wonderful character actor. He could play tough guys, he could play fools, but you'd see him in legal dramas, actually Runaway Jury, the John Grisham adaptation was one of his last films. That was in 2003. His last film was Welcome to Mooseport, 2004. He's been spotted, filling up his car with petrol, or he's been at conventions, but he hasn't made a film in the last 20 or so years. So very sad passing, but one of those actors, he always brought a gravitas. I think of, The Firm is a really good example. Whenever you saw him in a movie, you just knew that it elevated the calibre.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Finn.
Cool, perfect. All right.
Was that all right?
That was good.
Yeah, good.